Can anybody see anything? Just curious.
I can't. No.
Okay, so we're all just waiting in the dark here.
Pretty much.
Cool. And then no role play on Thursday, right?
That is correct. Yeah, so tomorrow.
Eric, can you hear me? Hello, Eric. Coming in, Eric. Hello? We can't hear you on Zoom.
Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you. Perfect.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys.
Framing as the last 15 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I didn't realize the thing was off. My bad. Yeah. Anyways, I want you guys to jump into groups of two, start going through what that conversation looks like, give a little pushback, have a conversation. Sometimes you can have that face-to-face. Sometimes you can have that over the phone, but it's a conversation that you need to have. So either way, depending on your client's situation, if they can meet it or if they can't. So have a conversation about dropping the price first, and then I want you to have a conversation about, you know, if you're with the buyer, changing their criteria. So you should have enough time with the next, you know, you guys got 30 minutes here. So you should have enough time to go over, both of you going through the buyer side, both of you going through the seller side, and I'll walk around and ask any questions or answer any questions as you're going through. Okay, ready? Break. Sorry about that. Anybody on Zoom?
It's all good.
Is there
I'm gonna let you jump in here so we can listen to some of these conversations. I think you're the only one on. Jamin's the only one on Zoom, right?
Would you say to that question? No, they.
So, yeah, well, I mean, without really updating the house.
Who's off?
there's not much we can do.
Okay, so there's nobody on Zoom?
Yeah.
Then I don't need to turn this on.
What do you want?
All right, bring it back, bring it back, bring it back. All right. How'd that go? Anybody have any things that they learned, anything they picked up on, anything that was a challenge? Jay? I completely agree with that statement.
She threw Gabriella a big curveball.
Okay.
She was daughter of the sellers
Mhm.
and was upset about selling the home and
Ooh.
having to leave because she worked from home, so didn't want to do any showing, didn't want to sell the home,
Okay.
didn't want to talk about it.
Wow. Aloha, when I said make it a little difficult, she was like, I'm going to make it impossible. Now, those situations do come up, though. They definitely do. And I will tell you that, you know, in here, we probably don't want to go that far when it comes to going through the conversations, just because, you know, that's going to be a few and far between situation, but they do come up. And so how'd you handle it?
It was actually.
Oh, Gabriella, how'd you handle it? Okay. So what was your solution? If she wasn't going to let you drop the price, she wasn't going to let you show the house, nothing. Nice. Very well done. Love that. Really well done. Talk about thinking outside of the box. I love well, do you want to buy it? That's awesome. That is so awesome because in that situation, let's say she says, okay, yeah, I want to buy the house. Okay, let's get you lined up. Maybe she finds out that she can buy the house. Boom. Problem solved. House is done. We'll have another conversation about how that would go with the seller. I've had that happen one time where somebody in the family wanted to buy it, and you got to kind of work on that. But on the other turn, maybe she finds out that she can't buy it. Maybe she finds out that that's not a possibility, but she also finds out that, you know, maybe if she did X, Y, and Z, she could get to the point where she could buy a house, right? So at that point, instead of saying, I want to stay here, I want to stay here, I want to stay here, maybe she's thinking about, well, if I did this and I did this, I could go pick up my own house and I could have my own house. So you're having a whole conversation and changing lives in the process of getting her out of your way. So yeah, round of applause for that. That was fantastic. Well done. Anybody else run anything? Aloha.
I wanted to do the price reduction, or I explained like how the price
Mhm.
like, well, we're not in a hurry, so wait, you know, price reduction.
Right.
And I said, great, like, we can wait another week. If they're not in a hurry,
Right.
then stay in alignment and
Absolutely.
you don't.
Yep. Stay in alignment. But what I would do, if you're in a situation where you feel like right now, let's say the situation is today, right? I would still have the sit down. I would still have the meeting and sit down with them and just say, hey, absolutely, we can absolutely wait another week. But why don't we sit down so we have a plan put together so we know what we're going to do if we do decide to drop the price. And hopefully this weekend we have somebody come in through the door. They buy the house. We don't even need to worry about it. But just in case, let's get a plan together so I can get all my marketing materials ready to rock so that we can really push the property when we do the price drop, if we do the price drop. Does that make sense? Then you can sit down with them. The reason for that is if you're going to do a price drop, I highly, highly, highly recommend even if you're showing them the same house that they've already seen, going through that picture game again. Make them realize at this point, okay, now here's your house and the pictures that we have on your house. Now you're seeing it online instead of seeing it every day as you're walking through it and having that heartfelt situation, right? So here's your house. Here's how the pictures turned out. You know, don't you think it looks great? Yada, yada, yada. Okay, now here's what we're comparing to. Go through those. At that point, they may look at it and go, you know, actually, you know, that one does have better bathrooms. That one does have a bigger backyard. That one does have more curb appeal. That one does have blah, 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 blah. You know, I mean, sometimes they're going to say, nope, mine's still better because they have blinders on. But if you have that conversation, they really look at it. We had this exact same thing happen, Mark and I did, where I went in and sat down. We looked at the same damn house that we looked at when we listed it. And they went through it. And by the end of it, they're like, you know what? I think we need to drop the price. And they made that decision. So anybody else? Anything else? Gabriella?
Jade, you know, you have to show me.
Yep. 3 to 5. Yep. Yep. Yeah, it's in our listing. It's in our listing stuff. Yep, our listing presentation. So that's something that you're going to foreshadow with your clients prior to the actual, you know, listing day. So if you go in and you get that foreshadowing going, right? That's the whole point. You know, recall what happened, foreshadow. You're going to see those two things are going to happen a lot in all of our conversations. But if you foreshadow things like what's going to happen in the inspection, you know, what's going to happen if we have no showings, what's going to happen if we have showings but no offers, you know, this is what we found. This is, you know, statistically correct from what we found in the market. You know, 10%, 5%, 3%, that kind of thing. If they know that going in, and then you have the conversation of, remember when we talked about this? It's a lot easier for them to agree with you when they've already heard it. But when they're hearing it for the first time, it's a little bit more difficult. So always throw that out in the middle. But one thing that we talked about over here that I want to make sure you guys remember, what's the 4-step process?
The question, listen to the answer, repeat, improve.
Exactly. Do you just do that when you're digging? No. You do that every single day, all day long, no matter what the conversation is, the entire time that you're talking to a client. Because if you are asking a question, even if you're giving information, even if you're saying, you know, right now we're getting a lot of showings, we're not getting any offers. We've been in the market for 3 weeks. So usually what we found, remember we had that conversation about what that looks like. Usually we're in that 5 to 3% too high range. And a little bit of the feedback that we're getting is that we are a little too high. So what are your thoughts on that? Right? Right. Which is fine. But my goal is to give them information and then immediately ask a question. Because if you stop, if you say that and then you just sit there, then there's an awkward pause and you're not going to stay in alignment. But if you're asking them about how they feel about that, what's your thoughts on that? What would you like to do? What do you think? They're still in control. They feel like they're still in control, but you're going to where you want to go. Does that make sense? Perfect. Well, I ended up rambling 2 minutes past. So why don't you guys jump on some phone calls? Just a reminder, the main crew, Jack, myself, and Byron are out of town as of tomorrow. So there will be no role play in the morning and there will be no mastermind tomorrow. But I am still available. Might be a little spotty on the phone, but if you guys have questions, anything pops up, Aaliyah, JJ will be here, and my phone is always on. So I'm available no matter where I am. I'm here for you guys. So we are going to Dismal River, Nebraska, which is 5 hours that way. It is a like luxury golf course resort thing. I don't golf, so I'm doing this, and then I'm gonna drive up and we're gonna shoot a bunch of things tonight. So I got all my guns in my car, and then yeah, steakhouse and poker and they're gonna drink, but I'm still on 75 hard, so I'm just gonna watch them drink. And
That's okay, I'll drink.
yeah, one of you guys can drink for me, trust me. But yeah, should be a good time, but we should be, Jack and everybody else, I believe, is coming back on Friday. I think I'm gonna come back tomorrow because I've been away from my child for almost an hour and I already miss him. So I don't know if I'm gonna make 2 days without my little kid. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. Maybe I'll get out there and I'll smoke a cigar and shoot my AR, and I'll decide I want to stick around for a little bit. We'll find out. Yeah, very true. All right, guys. Well, if you need anything, my phone's on. I'll be on the road for 5 hours.
Yeah, they eat that shit up. You told me about them?
Yeah.
Really? No, they did. It's why I think of her pickup. This guy's fucking weird.
Listen, I had a really good conversation with you. I love you.
What are you doing right now?
What am I doing right now?
Yeah.
Guys are weird.
Yeah.
Right now. You got any more of those in?
What are you wearing?
Crystal balls?
I'm gonna try and locate my phone. I'm gonna maybe check the fridge because
You put your phone in the fridge?
I don't know.
If you
I
did.
totally had it. And all I did was put my yogurt in it.
Yeah. JJ, are you good?
For what?
Really? I'm just going to, because I get fit in and like,
For the week?
hear what on calls or like fit in and whatever you do, like,
Two more stops I have to
okay.
I'll just,
5.5 hours.
I'm gonna check.
Back and forth.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they calls for a while. I didn't get to make any calls yesterday.
Yeah, and I'm.
I wasn't.